thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Ghislaine. It's October 15th. What's today? Wednesday? Hump Day? Hell yeah, good to be here with you guys. We have we have some interesting stuff to go through today. I'm genuinely excited for today's show. I always am, but more so today than normal because we get to have a little bit of fun, and it's the sort of fun that actually has some substance behind it. It does tie into the larger political conversation. Apparently there were some leaked group chats, which we're going to get into some funny territory, so no words will ensue, so fair warning. Although, what are you doing here? If you aren't cool with no words, don't watch this with your kids. Just letting you guys know that. I have zero filter, just me hanging out with the boys and a handful of girls that show up. We have Kirk killing search and scrub. We're going to be talking a little bit today about, I know we talked a little bit yesterday about some of the search result stuff. Well, I collected a little bit more. I think I have a better presentation for you guys to kind of go into that, explaining sort of that concept, then also kind of some of the weird searches out there, and then also the kind of accompanying scrub that seemingly is going along with this. It seems that there perhaps is a disappearing going on with some internet stuff, and then also probably do a little bit of a touching up or catching up on what's going on with Ghislaine, kind of more some inside voices and what her stay over in prison is like, and maybe kind of little other stuff about the Epstein stuff. Kind of smatter on a couple other maybe little stories Epstein related in there. But yeah, also a little warning. I think between either tomorrow or Friday, I probably might sit out a morning dump. I do have a litter of kitties coming soon, and so I gotta prepare the kitty room and do a few other little things here and there. So I need to take one of these days. So probably play it by ear, maybe just kind of what the news cycle looks like between today and tomorrow. Maybe whichever one seems a little bit more dead. I don't know. We'll see. But just letting you guys know. Also do want to let you guys know last night's Already Dead was pretty fire. Marna Mack, who I already see in the chat, showed up. Who I didn't know this, but we found this out yesterday. She was in Columbine, so holy shit, that was interesting. That was an interesting discussion, so go check that out. But all right, guys, we're going to go through a few videos, and then we'll get into our good mornings. We'll do our little introductory videos / stories. The first one I have for you guys today is, I don't know, more or less just kind of a fun little way to wake up. We have essentially we got these, this is from what I'm understanding, I guess they have this light show set up over in Egypt. I thought this was pretty cool. I know for all the occult homies, this is apparently screaming occult, but just enjoy the show, enjoy how it looks, but just kind of marvel that, whoa, they do this, and this probably is some satanic ritual occurring, but either way, the sounds and the lights are cool, so we can enjoy that. So watch this. was fun. I think we just summoned a demon or something. By the way, we did talk last night about obelisks. While we do have this up right now, this is a perfect example of what an obelisk is for those who are curious. Those two big pillars is very similar to an obelisk. Although I think an obelisk typically comes to like a point. But either way, very, very symbolic in nature. You might even be able to find it. Look, you can see here people, I guess, including some Kabbalah type stuff. Symbolism, I believe. You can kind of extrapolate from some of the lights and sounds that are coming off. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm sure there's some weird occult stuff going on. Your sigil of Lucifer, some people are saying. I don't know. Probably. Sure. I'm open to it. I mean, especially happening there. But hey, weird world we live in. All right. Also, a funny world we live in. I don't know if this is intentional or what, but apparently the U.S. Border Patrol did a little promotional material, and they decided to use the band version of Michael Jackson's song. See if you can catch the fun lyrics. Oh, of course, the audio went out. My bad. Dang it. Stupid StreamYard. 1 second. All right. Now, let's do this. All right. Here you go.
You can never break me, will me, hate me, you can never break me, will me, thrill me, you can never kill me, chew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kite me, don't jump like a bite me, all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
All right, dope song, but for those who aren't aware, there is a band lyrics version of this that's Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me. That's the lyrics of the They Don't Care About Us song, which just, whatever, funny. The Border Patrol, I don't think that was intentional, but boy, it is funny, and I will point it out. All right, getting a little less into the funny and more into the real substantive. Here's a couple clips. The following one after this is maybe a little bit more tied into topics for today, but this one, I don't know, it's just one I wanted to catch anyways, and I don't know. This is Anna Kasparian. She's just been an utter queen lately. I know people have been passing along the meme. What's it called? What's it called? The Grabbler? Or not the Grabbler. What's the hand rubbing one? I know the chat will, but essentially she literally did that in real life recently. So she's gained a new following of Nevsky's, like you in the chat, Nevsky. Much fanboy happening these days because she's gone pretty goddamn hard in the question. She has zero tolerance for any of the old woke sensibilities in regards to the Jays. She's basically like, suck my dick, get fucked, and it's pretty dope. So let's see what she's had to say about on her recent appearance on Piers Morgan. I haven't watched this. Every now and then I poke into Piers, but I wanted to catch this clip, so let's watch it together.
Are you really gonna let him? They leveled Gaza. They literally have 10,000 people missing in Gaza right now as we speak, presumed dead, trapped under the rubble. Over the weekend, they recovered over 200 bodies. You want to talk about the IDF protecting innocent human life? Why don't we talk about the Hannibal Directive and how many Israelis the IDF shot and killed on October 7th? This is something that Yoav Gallant, the former military minister for Israel, foreign defense minister, came out and said, that did happen. We would rather not allow Hamas to take these hostages and use them as leverage. By the way, that's the same Yoav Gallant who, after October 7th, said that the Israelis should not negotiate for the release of the hostages and instead engage in a military operation in Gaza, which is what they did. They have leveled the Gaza Strip. There's nothing for these Palestinian people to go home to. And you want to talk about how the Palestinians and Hamas have rejected offers for a two-state solution. After the clean break memo, after Netanyahu made abundantly clear that he would not allow for the formation of a Palestinian state, after the fact that every effort at creating a two-state solution was undermined by the Israelis, they don't want a two-state solution. The Likud's founding charter pursues the Greater Israel Project. They want that land. They're going to pursue that land. They're going to steal that land. And look, I am hoping that there will be lasting peace. But I'm also smart enough to pay close attention to what's going on in Israeli media. And based on what's being said in Israeli media, it does not appear as though there's going to be a lasting ceasefire. And I'm worried about that. So look, Shabbos can sit here and lie about how, it's all Hamas's fault and the wonderful, precious, innocent Israeli government has only done the right thing and only the right thing. But that's just not true. They have committed war crimes. The IDF has committed atrocities that I never thought I would ever see in my lifetime. I thought humans had evolved past that kind of disgusting war crime behavior. And so to talk about how, like, oh, everything is so great, and Israel, we're going to go ahead and launder their reputation after the atrocities that they committed, after the genocide they carried out. And by the way, the continued atrocities that are currently taking place in the West Bank, I'm not going to sit here and stand for that. It's disgusting.
All right. Well, that was all right. I was expecting a little more fire, but it was fun. I don't know. Came off a little shill that time around, but I don't know. I like Anna. She's always fun seeing her tear someone apart. And I was more with this when I saw she had this one dork next to her, and every now and then they get into it, and it's particularly nice seeing him beat up that him. He does not really seem like one that's fit to take it. So just seeing him get beat down by a lady is kind of fun. All right, last story, but we're going to kind of preface this one. Just a kind of reminder of who this guy is. We're going to play a clip from Jack Posobiec. I haven't watched this one yet, but I've seen this doing the rounds. We've played on the show a few of these influencer types recently that have been kind of, been given the bully pulpit from the administration that be seemingly in one way, shape, or form, whether it's a press conference or whatever, and they give this kind of emotional plea of some sort, usually being kind of ambiguous what exactly they're calling for, but then kind of usually starting with kind of some sort of allusion to danger or something, to which there's definitely truth. But I just want to remind you, here is Jack Posobiec. This is from yesterday. It said today would have been Charlie's 32nd birthday. So happy 32nd, I guess, Charlie. Would have been cool if you were around. Instead, Charlie will be forever 31 because a violent leftist sought to silence his words with a bullet, is what Jack said. But they failed. Charlie's voice was louder than ever, and his TPUSA legacy will endure forever, which he has been driving this line for a long time. And I still find it weird. I think, now I will say, I've seen a lot of people who are getting more comfortable with what are essentially embracing some semblance of the official narrative as of late, and with like a resounding this is just, we're going to default to this being the case. Like, so this idea that you can just, like, I couldn't just say that, like, I can't say, oh, I can't say I saw fucking Charlie get murdered by a violent Israeli, because I have nothing, like, I don't know, there's not really any good reason to, and I still stand by, I think, like, there really isn't, if we analyze what supposed evidence there are, I mean, maybe I'm open to, like, there being levels of, believability to this. Maybe there's stuff I missed, but I remember we were on this show tracking the stuff as it went by. Maybe not everything doggedly down to the specific source, but for the most part, searching down to like each one of these supposed claims that, seem to uphold the fact that this was the guy. Most of these things, they fall short once you start digging into it a little bit. And by short, I mean it doesn't at all show that. Like, a lot of people will be like, oh, the one picture, like, there's that one camera from the tunnel or whatever. And they're like, it just looks like a dude with a hat. It could be fucking anyone. And so there's just kind of these really, really weak nothing burgers that are thrown together, this smattering. And I think also this like normalcy bias of time is occurring right now, where time is like, there's been enough time that's elapsed where people just are kind of like, well, nothing's changed. This is kind of the status quo. We've kind of settled on this. The knowledge of the oddities of all the different assorted claims are becoming more murky in people's minds. So I think this is just kind of, as it's settling, they're becoming certain characters like the Posobiecs, and frankly, a lot of people who I think just are actually organically just kind of getting it and don't even necessarily have a glow to them, that are just kind of following along. Like, I don't know, I think this is probably just the case. You're like, to them, they're like, it's kind of ridiculous that this would go on this long and it'd be this absurd. And you're like, well, I think that's kind of the point. They're just kind of dragging their ass open that they can just get to this point where people just kind of get this normalcy bias, this kind of falling into line of status quo, kind of forgetting a lot of this stuff. But I still am kind of, do we even know the specific circumstances yet of his supposed turning in, arrest, anything? Because I don't. I mean, maybe, feel free to tag me and stuff if that's the case, but everything seems very murky around the circumstances of this. There's nothing that seems to be, obviously there's like, I don't feel comfortable saying that Israel did it, but I also don't feel comfortable saying this guy did it, especially not alone. Now, I will say, like, maybe there's something to say that Actually, even then I hesitate to say there's something to say that he did it, because what do we really have that shows Tyler Robinson was the person on that roof? Like, what connects these two things at all? At all? Like, I mean, like, try to get down to the specific source of anything. Like, you get down to, like, oh, supposedly the gun was recognized. And you're like, by what, the dad? How do we know this? And I'm like, where is the source for this? I don't know. Like, I'm being genuine. Like, if someone has this, I've just kind of vague influencers online. I think I've said this. I mean, maybe if I go look into it, I can find charging documents and some of this stuff. But I think a lot of this stuff is people are just kind of filling in the blanks in their head, and time has gone on. And so they just kind of assume this stuff is held up on more than it is. Anyways, I'm kind of getting off topic. Well, not off topic. I'm on topic, but I'm kind of rambling. Anyways, for those watching, you guys can see this. For the audio people, I'm sorry for kind of dragging on a little bit, just because this would have made more sense, this rant. But here's Ian Carroll below it saying, "It wasn't a violent leftist, Jack. Why are you spinning a narrative on your dead friend's grave?" And I thought it's particularly interesting that has been, I've seen basically almost to the level where it feels astroturfed, of essentially a direct, I guess, attack, maybe would be a way to put it, or all hands on deck, seemingly, on Ian. Like, and I guess perception-wise is, I guess, what I'm getting at, too. Every time I open my Twitter or whatever, it seems to be, just a couple scrolls and I see this. So it just feels like I'm being fed this. But, and point being is, like, from my experience on social media, that would give me the impression that, I think, and from what I'm seeing from some of the comments that keep showing up on my feed, the quote tweets, it seems like you would think that everyone disagrees with Ian and that he's getting fucking just wrecked. And then when you look at the actual metrics, they're about even. Ian isn't like ratioing Jack. Jack isn't ratioing him. So I do have to say, there at least seems to be almost a feeling of a perception game occurring to me. But I also think I'm of the opinion that if anyone's astroturfed here, it's probably Jack, or a combination of both. So my point being is, you would think the Jack narrative would probably be a little astroturfed here, particularly in my opinion. So I'm a little biased in that one. So seeing Ian actually being able to hang here is actually kind of impressive to me. I actually kind of assumed that I was going to, when I looked into this, I was going to see like a ratio and Ian getting wrecked. Nope. It seems to be pretty neck and neck, regardless of levels of astroturf. So I don't know. I guess you could take that any way you want if you're trying to read the tea leaves on where America is at on the Charlie Kirk killing. But at the very least, I think people are still skeptical. But maybe time is kind of making it become a little more where people are willing to just kind of knee-jerk, just accept it. Because most people don't have a show like me and go 5 days a week digging into this stuff and are able to, with you guys, look at these specific stuff. And I'm not claiming to be a scholar or a genius or anything, but most people don't have this sort of time. So I can also totally get why people do that. But that's enough to kind of set the stage. Let's see what Jack has said in one of his recent... actually, never mind. I thought this was some sort of fucking press conference. I'm wrong. Whether it's just a clip going around. This is from Real America's Voice, I think. Which is, I don't know if that's his show or if that's someone else's. Let's watch this.
If you are a conservative in America today, that means to live your entire life 24/7, top to bottom. When you wake up, when you're going to your car, when you're going to work, when you're coming home, when you're going out, when you're taking your kids to school, you could be killed. And it's blunt, but it's the truth. And I want...
Wait, what? Okay, we're 20 seconds. Let's start that over.
If you are a conservative in America today, that means to live your entire life 24/7, top to bottom. When you wake up, when you're going to your car, when you're going to work, when you're coming home, when you're going out, when you're taking your kids to school, you could be killed. And it's blunt, but it's the truth.
All right, we're 20 seconds in, but I'm going to go ahead and say right now, holy fucking shitballs. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll save it. I assumed there was going to be like, if maybe even some caveating here of a leftist or of a conservative influencer or something, which even then would feel a little bit gay, but at least there's some like, whatever, you have a large profile, it makes sense. You probably do genuinely have more of a security threat, but there's more to this clip, so maybe he's going to provide something that changes my mind here, but that was super duper 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 fucking gay. I'm sorry, like, the idea that we're supposed to go, oh, as a conservative in America. Well, if you genuinely, I mean, like, okay, in a certain sense, there is always truth to that. There's always truth that anytime I leave my house, there's a chance that you could be accosted, that someone could attack you, that your security is in your hands at that point in time. Like, it doesn't make it right for people to do it, but it's a possibility of the world. And perhaps maybe there's more or less for a conservative or a liberal, although I would say it's probably offset by the capability to protect oneself. So, I mean, just what a fucking gay victim mentality. What a weird way to look at the world. Like, if you are a conservative living this, if you have this mentality in your life, and if this is actually in some way in accordance with reality for you, you should move. Like, if you genuinely feel unsafe, you should do something. Like, what the fuck? I don't feel this way. I mean, I'm not a conservative, to be fair. Although I actually think I have more reason to feel concerned, perhaps, with the way things are going. Although I think me and Jack have probably a slightly different framing of the situation. But whatever. Okay, that just feels super gay to me. Let's keep playing.
And I went to the White House yesterday, and I was honored to be a part of this, panel that we held on left-wing domestic violence that's going on in America. And I said the exact same thing, and even said to the president that, Mr. President, the next person who could be assassinated could be sitting at this table right now, and probably is. And so it's gotten to the point in this country, certainly in the wake of...
Now that, like, the idea of that, like, one of us could get assassinated, fair. Now, like, I don't think Jack's on that list, if I gotta be real. But, okay, there's some sort of, at least we're in the realm of fucking... I guess maybe not reality of credulity, perhaps, because as I said before, I granted even his first 20-second little bit that is in the realm of technically reality. Technically, anytime you leave the house, it's, lone gunmen could just pop out the bushes and blow you the fuck away. Like, it's sure anyone's subject to those possibilities, and everyone has higher risks of it than others, or lesser, but there's always an outside possibility. So, but to have that perspective is just, I don't know. Anyways, let's keep going.
Charlie's murder, and only gotten worse. And I think there's a certain...
But what I want to get at is that with a larger influencer, perhaps, or something to it, does feel gay to be kind of like focused on it to an overly. Like, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Obviously, I don't think any of these people should be. If people are, sending, no matter how large your platform is or whatever, sending you violent death threats or, criminal action against you, you should get the according... I mean, maybe I might disagree on what the penalty is for the different thing or whatever. Anyways, point being, you should get in trouble for that. You shouldn't be able to do that. But there is also like a level of there is to some degree a risk as you make your profile larger. So it's, to some degree, you are kind of taking on that risk. Doesn't mean that when it happens to you that it's your fault. But there is some level of sitting here and whining about it to some degree. Now, if you're saying that I'm bringing the police these little legitimate death threats and they're doing nothing, different story. But if you're just saying people are being mean, or you're just complaining that is like a reality to some degree, and that there isn't the according, people aren't doing something about it. Now, if there is this, I'm a little bit concerned, as I said yesterday, a lot of this is kind of attached to this overarching sort of like looking to go after organizations or something, which gets much murkier, and it's based off of this dubious, seemingly people are mean is kind of this ambiguous feeling I'm getting. But let's keep
profile
going.
That's starting to emerge when you look at Gen Z. When you look at the Zoomers, I tend to notice there's sort of it's like there's no middle. So that's great when you're on the right because everyone's cool and based and awesome. But that means on the left, you turn towards the most extreme possible solutions, which include political assassination. So we've seen who? Luigi Maggioni, right? Thomas Matthew Crooks attempted to kill President Trump. This guy, Tyler Robinson at Utah Valley University, who I think it's starting to emerge that there's some he came from a conservative family but was rebelling against that, ran in the other direction, Mormon family. And the ICE shooter down in Dallas as well also fits the same profile. The anti-Catholic shooter
I totally forgot all about the ICE shooter
in Minneapolis fits the profile. Also, many of these cases, there's a tie to transgenderism and that ideology, which has direct ties with violence. And
All right, let's go through the chat. Say our good mornings. That's enough of that homo. I don't know. I'm over him. All right, let's roll through the chat. Good morning, King David. Good morning. Good morning, Daz. Good morning, Dr. Nick Riviera. We have a doctor in the house. Good morning, Che Caho. Good morning, Base Kothar. So good morning, Pagan Demons. Good morning, Martimac. Good to see you here. So my kids are cool with no words. Will you have some cool kids? Good morning, Real John Doe. Yeah, my kid calls me a faggot just about every day, and I do the same to her. Good morning, Alien Big Cat 23. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, Nevsky. Good morning, good morning. Next says, kitties fostering. Well, are you new here? I know you're not. I guess you somehow missed all the times. I breed kitty cats. So yeah, I breed kitty cats. Sphinx, if anyone's ever in the Florida area and wants a Sphinx, holler at your boy. Black Dahlia Cattery, Black Dahlia Sphinx. I think you can find it on Google. We have a website. If you are interested, we do have a wait list, though. So don't expect it's going to be like a fucking Walmart. Just, hit me up and have a kitty day of. This is a, usually probably almost a half year or more type of thing. But anyways, good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning, good morning. Nevsky says banger thumbnail. Yeah, probably not great for the algo. Probably not doing me any favors, but I couldn't help it today. Considering we're covering some racist group chats. Hell yeah. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning. Good morning. Dad said great podcast on Already Dead. Thank you. I did enjoy it. That was fun. Bug Fight says I would like to see a concert there. I actually kind of would. It just seemed pretty dope, but I'm not even a big concert person. Good morning, Comment Mama. Everyone's saying it's dope. Everyone's saying loves the smell of occultism. Good morning, Michael S. Only 5 minutes late and nice. Good morning. Good morning, Tash God of Fools. That's quite a dramatic name. Good morning, Jorge Glockington. Good morning, Mike E. Chim. He says, what's up, Jose? Hope the wife is doing well. She's doing all right. Did I say something like she wasn't recently? I don't remember. I mean, she does have shitty health sometimes, so I don't recall. And my time is all a blur since I'm with you guys every day. Good morning. Nevsky says Kasparian's gay. Nevsky's, I don't understand what you meant by that. I was joking because she had the Happy Merchant. I saw you guys in the chat corrected me. She did recently. There's been a lot of people having fun and making memes of Anna going mega based on, I believe it was Larry Ellison, essentially kind of doing the Happy Merchant meme in real life, essentially accusing him of being like the worst sort of Jew. And then essentially she got some sort of backlash for it. And then she basically came back with like a fuck you. Like, if you don't want me to say these, what you think are anti-Semitic shit, then I don't know, don't fit it, basically, is what she kind of said. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, JC. Good to see you in here. Good morning. Good morning, Jake Moore. Not as late as yesterday. Hit that like button, people. Jake did. Please do. Good morning, Chuck Bam. He's telling us breaking news. There's a mothership UFO over Chicago. If you're in Chicago, go look outside and look and let us know if Chuck Bam is telling the truth. You never know. Comment Mama says, I am a gentleman, a scholar. I do try. Good morning. Psycho Mantis 65 has said, I suck dick and say that's gay. It is gay, right? Good morning. Yeah, Real John Doe. Many of these influencers sure appear to be using rage bait to push conflict and / or civil war. It does feel like that, right? Good morning, aggressively agreeing. So isn't it weird that every conservative who is pro-Israel hasn't been murdered? Just as aggressively agreeing. Let me see what else. Catching up. Good morning, JMS. Wait, whoa. I'm not trying to start any beefs here, but he said what he said, and if you're watching it, you can read it. I didn't even notice you said that. Good morning, Gerald Hall. Good morning. Good morning, the one mustache 3. Good morning. Did we got everybody? Good morning, Emily Lawrence. Good morning. We might be we're all caught up. All right, let's go ahead and get into some foreign policy, and then we'll get into the main topics of the day. All right, the latest in the Hamas-Israel, ongoing nonsense. Trump, if Hamas doesn't disarm, we will disarm them, perhaps violently. So yesterday he said that Hamas will disarm, and if they don't do it voluntarily, we will force them, perhaps violently, suggesting a police or potential U.S. role. Here's what he said. If they don't disarm, this is in quotes, we will disarm them, and it will happen quickly and perhaps violently, but they will disarm. When asked how he would disarm Hamas, the president said, I don't have to explain that to you. They know I'm not playing games. He also expressed support for some of Hamas's recent arm actions, which I don't think we talked about this yesterday. But yeah, yesterday there was a story where essentially a lot of the Israeli the Zionist types have been out there freaking out about reports of Hamas essentially employing violence. I forget what they were doing. I think I heard something about like executions or some shit. I have no idea the specifics, but essentially seemingly fighting smaller groups, and Trump essentially passed it off as kind of like keeping the peace and saying that they had kind of agreed to it, but then now we're kind of talking about disarming again. So anyway, it seems a little confusing, but maybe not so much. So Trump expressed support for some of the recent armed actions. Since it went into effect, the group resorted control over areas vacated by the Israeli military and has executed alleged collaborators and criminals. Israel had been arming gangs and militias in Gaza as part of its strategy against Hamas. So, which that's interesting. Which I mean, I don't really know what to make of that. With although I get because I know we've covered in this show of essentially how there were like Israeli sort of militias there. So it's like, is Hamas using this time to essentially get rid of some of the enemy collaborators during this time? That's interesting. I don't really know where this is all going to go, but that could play a part into it. This is what Trump said. He said, they did take out a couple of gangs that were very bad, very bad gangs, and they did take them out. And they killed a number of gang members, and that didn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's okay. It's a couple of very bad gangs. But yeah, so then he said this too. He says, you have close to 2 million people going back to buildings that have been demolished, and a lot of bad things can happen. So we want it to be safe. I think it's going to be fine. Who knows for sure? So we have this I don't know, we're talking about demilitarization while also then supporting them, pursuing armed actions, but it does seem to be keeping the peace. So I'm not sure. Still looking okay on that side of things. On the U.S. Hamas side, well, on the Israel Hamas side, it's looking a little bit kind of touch and go. Apparently they're just violating the ceasefire deal now. Apparently they're cutting the aid that they promised in half over the bodies. So Israel's informed the UN that it will only allow 300 aid trucks to enter Gaza per day, keep the Rafah crossing closed, and block virtually all fuel and gas shipments into Gaza until Hamas releases all of the remains of Israeli captives, which still need to be located under the rubble. So under the Gaza ceasefire deal, Israel agreed to allow 600 aid trucks to enter Gaza per day. The minimum, the UN says, is needed to bring relief to the civilian population that has been starving under the Israeli siege. So far, Hamas has released 8 out of 28 of the bodies of hostages that remain in Gaza. Israel is accusing Hamas of violating the ceasefire deal, but it was aware that it would take time to recover the remains before the ceasefire deal was signed. During Gaza negotiations, Israel understood it would take time to recover all bodies of deceased captives. A specific mechanism for recovering the bodies was agreed. That's according to Jeremy Scahill over at Dropsite News. He's been reporting, pretty doggedly on all the ins and outs of these deals for a long time now, has lots of sources. He also said now Israel's pretending that it didn't happen, or pretending that didn't happen so it can violate the deal and cut the agreed aid shipments in half. So according to the ceasefire deal that Israel and Hamas side signed, Hamas had 72 hours since the truce started to release all living hostages and all the remains of Israeli captives that Hamas and other Palestinian factions had in their, quotes, possession. So they didn't have them in their possession. Regarding the other bodies, ones not in their possession, Hamas is obligated to share all the information it obtained relating to any remaining deceased hostages through a mechanism established by the deal. So they even have worked into this deal a mechanism for those of the ones that they don't know where the bodies are, which this has been a crazy a crazy war zone. So it's not that crazy that a lot of these bodies they wouldn't be able to recover, because frankly, a lot of them were probably murdered by Israel, incidentally, by extension. So that's where we're at with that. They've also killed 7 Palestinians despite the ceasefire in yesterday. So it's getting a little bit, obviously no deaths are good, but as I've said many times, it almost seems like the double digits when we're like, oh no, oh shit, this thing's about to break. But it's still under double digits, but I don't know, getting a little bit more. Seems like that number's creeped up compared to the handful of days preceding this. So, but yeah, essentially, I think these ones where they were saying that they entered their little magical little zones, so they're back to playing these danger zone games. So right here, the IDF admitted to killing Palestinians in Gaza City on Tuesday, claiming they crossed the so-called yellow line that IDF forces had withdrawn to and were approaching Israeli troops. I have a feeling there was no actual literal yellow line, probably a metaphorical yellow line, as they've admitted to before. They would just make up imaginary lines, and if you cross that line, you died. The IDF claimed that the Palestinians violated the ceasefire deal and that it acted to remove a threat, but its statement did not allege the Palestinians were armed. So it didn't even allege they were armed. They just say, oh, we were removing a threat. And then even more so, the kind of reason for concern, we have more quotes coming out of Smotrich saying that there will be Jewish settlements in Gaza. This is what he said. He said, so we have patience, but we have determination and faith, and with God's help, we will continue the series of victories and the big miracles, Smotrich said at an event in the southern city of Sderot, according to the Times of Israel. He's talking about having more of these settlements, which he's been talking about for a while. So he's talking about patience, kind of waiting for these things. So, I mean, let's be real. This shit's going to pick back up at some point anyways. But I don't know. As a counterpoint to that, we have the UN saying countries have committed $70 billion to rebuild Gaza, but it also could take decades to recover. This is from Kyle Anzalone. It says the UN and several nations have committed a combined $70 billion to rebuild Gaza over 2 years of Israeli destruction. 83% in Gaza of homes in Gaza City were damaged or destroyed during the Israeli onslaught. Jaco Cilliers, an official at the UN Development Program, explained that Canada, Europe, Arab nations, and the U.S. had combined to commit $70 billion to rebuilding of Gaza. The task of rebuilding Gaza will be monumental, as Israeli bombardment generated at least 55 million tons of rubble that is riddled with unexploded bombs. Cilliers said it could take decades for Gaza to recover. However, rebuilding the strip will only begin if the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas holds. The two sides are already trading accusations of violating the pact. Tel Aviv said Hamas is not producing the bodies of the dead hostages fast enough and has cut the amount of aid entering Gaza in response. Israel has devastated Gaza over the past 2 years. At least 67,000 people are dead, but experts and observers have estimated the actual death toll to be in the hundreds of thousands. Also in the millions of tons of rubble in Gaza are thousands of bodies. Since the ceasefire took hold, Palestinians have dug out the remains of hundreds of people in 3 days. Last week, the UN reported that 83% of all buildings in Gaza City have been damaged or destroyed. By December of 2023, experts were accusing Israel of conducting a domicide in Gaza, or the deliberate destruction of all infrastructure to displace a group of people. The Ukrainian delegation just arrived in Washington, and surprise, surprise, the agenda seems to be less talks with Russia, more weapons. We're getting ready to talk about, we'll probably have some more news on this tomorrow. Zelensky is expected to ask Trump about the Tomahawk stuff, which we've been covering a lot, which would be an incredible increase in aggression between the two nations, or the three nations, really. So we'll keep you posted on that, but unsurprisingly, that seems to be the tone of the delegation as they come in. And finishing off our foreign policy, it wouldn't be the morning dump foreign policy roundup without the daily reminder that we be fucking murdering people in South America over and over and over again. The U.S. bombs another boat off the coast of Venezuela. Trump claims 6 narco-terrorists killed. So they bombed another one. Here is the video for those of you guys who like snuff porn Enjoy this. Here is more murder on the high seas. Kaboom. You got to see the missile that time. Yay, murder. Isn't that fun? I'm sure they were guilty and worthy of being fucking their entire lives destroyed. I'm sure their wives, kids, whatever. Who gives a shit? Because drugs in foreign country. I'm sure we have a complete grasp on the situation, and I'm sure this is a positive development. This is great things, right? Just rampant murder. That solves things. I don't really. What do we even say about this? Yeah, apparently the claim is there were 6 male narco terrorists, which, as with every single one of these, the only bit of actual intel that they've been willing to provide, up to and including to Congress, is this shit. Literally just the videos. So this is what you are looking at right now is all that you actually can verify. This is all the evidence you have that these people were worthy of death. These pixels in front of your face, these grainy black and white pixels, that's fucking it. And that's all they're providing anyone. Over and over and over and over again. As we're ginning up a war in Venezuela. Which is like, once again, even if these guys are trafficking drugs, which for one, there's like so many assumptions here. There's an assumption they're trafficking drugs. Also, that these drugs are coming to the United States, and then, like, I guess to some extent, like, this is going to make a difference. Like, in all of these assumptions, it's pretty much every single one of them is incredibly dubious. Like, up to and from the jump, that they even just assuming that these are fucking narco terrorists. But just trust Trump, guys. Just trust what they have to say. And with that, let's roll in the chat to see what you guys have to say. And then we'll get into some of the main topics. Hit that like button, people. I didn't realize I had a good morning up this whole time. All right, let's pop in. Who else we got in here? Reporting for anti-Semitism, says Gerald Hall. Be careful. Be careful. You might get me for that thumbnail. Nevsky says, I'm traveling with my mom right now, and asked if she's liking the stream at all. Her reply was, he's just saying good morning too much because he has nothing else to say. LOL. I'm interacting with the chat. I go to a segment, I pause, I come and say hi to everybody. I see if there's anything worthwhile addressing in the chat. Good morning, Civilise. I'm sorry you don't like that, Nevsky's mom, but this is the format of streams, okay? It is what it is. Gerald says, Nevsky, she's not wrong. Yeah, she's not wrong. All right. Good morning, everyone. Let me see. Trying to see if there's anybody else new in here. Any worthwhile? Psycho Mantis says, I'm thinking about that episode of Gilligan's Island when they split the island, except the skipper has white phosphorus bombs. Yeah, that totally makes sense. There were lots of reports of white phosphorus bombs over the past handful of years by Israel. So unsurprising. But yeah, all right, let's keep going. What else we got in here? Good morning, Rise Liberty. Good to see you here. Isn't this just the military killing the CIA at this point? Well, probably the CIA's brown little sex toys is what they're probably blowing up, really. I doubt any CIA agents were actually harmed in the production of this filming. All right, guys, let's get into, without any further ado, let's get into the racism. Let's fucking go. Apparently, Politico last night. What time did they drop this at? This was at, I guess it was actually yesterday. I'm just now hearing about it like late last night, but early afternoon yesterday, Politico dropped. It says, exclusive. Thousands of leaked messages show leaders of young Republican group chats joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape in a private Telegram chat. Inside rising GOP leaders, racist chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months. All right, I don't know if we'll read all of this, but I don't know. We'll at least have some fun. Let's go through. Oh man, they really go into this. Yeah, we're definitely not gonna read all of this. We'll probably read the beginning of it, and then oh my god, this is amazing. Here's one out of context. Here's a screenshot. Joe, did you look it up? And then someone responds, just did. Probably shouldn't have on my work computer. And then someone says this is in reply to something else. The Spanish came to America and had sex with every single woman. Someone responded, sex is gay. And then someone said sex, is that it was rape. And then someone responded, epic. Which, like, whatever. These are just stupid interactions in a group chat. I don't think he genuinely is saying, like, hell yeah, I like rape. He's just being dumb. Anyways, yeah, we're definitely not reading this whole thing, but we'll read the beginnings of it. That way, at least you can get the context of this whole situation. But this is from Politico. It says, I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. So leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway, which, I mean, that's what everyone jokes about. It would be so fucked if it's ever leaked. Which, I mean, I always say that, but, like, I don't know, whatever. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. Oh, I'm sorry, do we not like fun? They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide and lauded Republicans who they believe support slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the word nigga and nigga. Look how they're fucking, what fucking faggotry. Look at this, too. I hate this so much. Like, this is the point of, like, why people are now more and more coming to the point where no one fucking cares if you say words like nigger. Who fucking cares? It's a word. It's mouth sounds. Like, especially when I'm in that situation right there, I was literally referring to the word. Contextually speaking, there's nothing objectionable whatsoever there. It makes no fucking sense. Like, you could say it's crass in the sense that, like, we probably shouldn't say this around children, maybe, or something, the same way that wouldn't say tits, cunt, whatever. But anyways, the point here is literally for nigga. They are fucking doing the N hyphen GA. They won't even spell nigga. What a joke. How are you as a journalist? You just can't even literally you put it in quotes. So for one, you're lying by putting the hyphen there. By putting it in quotes and putting the hyphen there, you are saying this is a quote. I know this is pedantic, or maybe not pedantic, but semantic, sort of. But journalistically speaking, you're kind of lying because you're kind of saying that what this person said was N-GA. I guarantee you they did not say N-GA. So you're literally making English harder or understanding concepts harder. Like, not by much, but enough to where you're, like, having to make it so we have to carve out things for this weird verbal sensibility. Like, why? Like, what? Is there really a black person out there that's reading the words? William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the words, and then they saw it spelled out in quotes, N-I-G-G-A, and just go, like, are they, what? Like, are you concerned that children are reading Politico? What is this? Like, I don't know. This like makes me upset. Like, and this is why people just don't care. They'll just say it. It's, I don't know, just, what the fuck? Anyways, that aside, Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Republican, or New York State Young Republicans at the time, referred to rape as epic. Peter Giunta, who at the time was chair of the same organization, wrote in a message sent in June that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Giunta was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of the Young Republicans National Federation, the GOP's 15,000-member organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old. And I'm sure he literally meant that he was going to genocide his opponents. I'm sure, Politico. I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers, he continued. Two members of the chat responded, which, I mean, we don't need to read that. That's stupid. It's obviously a joke. He says in there, can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. Joe Maligno, who previously identified himself as the general counsel for the New York State Young Republicans, wrote back, I'm ready to watch people burn now. Whatever. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. Chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job, and another's job offer was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Representative Elise Stefanik and State Senate Minority Leader Rob Ort, have denounced the chat. and festering resentments among young Republicans have now turned into public recriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. All right, that's all I can do of that article. Let's go look through. Here's Peter Giunta. Okay, this is one of the guys. Okay, that's amazing. Sorry for the audio people. You'd have to see it. It's like a George Santos level type of look. I don't know if this guy is gay, but just something about the vibe is very George Santos-ish, which I don't know. I love the idea that this guy is like talking about fucking genociding his enemies. This is what the goofball looks like. Anyways, let's get into some other stuff on this. Kind of some of the responses, I guess you can say, to this. For example, here's Republicans against Trump saying just in Kansas, young Republicans were deactivated Tuesday after a Politico investigation uncovered racist messages in a group chat among young GOP members in 4 states. So they deactivated the Kansas Young Republicans account because of this, which I don't really understand why they would do that. Chair Alex Dwyer reportedly reacted to "Great, I love Hitler" with a smiley face, and a heart reacted to a message about killing political opponents in a gas chamber. Which I will say, to the lefties' benefit, with all the faggotry that's come out from the right lately, with all this Antifa shit, it does create a funny juxtaposition. With all the fucking pearl clutching and grasping at straws in some cases, or the hyperbole of the left in some of their excesses. And meanwhile, we're talking about murdering our enemies, which, to be fair, I think that's fine. I think it's hilarious. I think this is we're able to, walk and chew gum, but it does admittedly make for a funny juxtaposition. And to be fair, I mean, there is a glaring, what are you doing? Stop being faggots. I think that kind of, to some extent, there's some sort of element of that there, I think, of these two forces against each other. While as I've been kind of saying, there is some level of truth to some of the Antifa, shittiness of the left, this, that. But anyways, it just seems to be people are pretty fucking gay about this. But anyways, and then Vice Chair William Hendricks, who worked for AG Chris Krobach, used the N-word more than a dozen times. Judging by the way how weird they were about nigga, I have a feeling it probably wasn't the hard ER that they're referring to here, but I like to imagine it was. I don't know if this is the guy, William Hendricks, but I like to imagine it is, because this guy's just hard dropping R's all over the place. Love it. But anyways, that is what's going on. They apparently... The Kansas Young Republicans, they deactivated their thing for it. We have all these political figures getting some heat for it, these young ones. No, I'm having fun with this. Obviously, to be very clear, I actually do not want these guys to get in trouble. If anything, I kind of almost hope it backfires and there's a little bit of a political elevation of some of these figures. And then, but more from the left, some of or I don't even know if it's necessarily left. This is there seemingly have been kind of establishment, really, a lot of establishment figures, and I can't really decipher through a lot of them I've been seeing enter my feed. If a lot of them are left or right, it seemed to be pretty similar. Oh my God. But here's John Jackson. I have a question for all Republican politicians with a shred of dignity. Are you proud of the fact that embracing Donald Trump has poisoned the character of your children? Just look at what you become. An entire generation of Republicans are literal fucking Nazis. And what he's sharing here is, I guess, a picture that Politico made for it, which kind of shows all, I guess, just kind of a different screenshots. I'm assuming these are, different ones from it. I just want to read some of these greatest hits just because I find them funny. Here's one. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. I mean, these are literally even out of context, whatever. I can totally be oh, I don't think he literally means he's going to kill everyone. Great, I love Hitler. And then also we are officially under consideration for a Trump endorsement, which whatever, okay. When do we bring that side out? What even? So okay, we're giving nationals too much credit and expecting the Jew to be honest. Okay, so they're talking about Jews and stuff. They're talking about I'm ready to watch people burn now. Whatever. I go to the zoo if I wanted to watch the monkey play ball. Okay, that's pretty. If we ever had a leak of this chat, we'd be cooked for real. Okay, that's funny. Are you going to do whatever it takes? Then when do we start bullying dude in here? Kick the bitch. Boom, they're dead. They love the watermelon people. More stuff about gas chamber. I mean, these are weak as shit. Just so weak. I mean, really just kind of on its face. I don't think people are falling for this anymore. They can keep trying these tired tactics, whoever they is here. But it's not going to work. As my buddy Clint says here, he says, if I'm in a private group chat with you and you don't say wildly inappropriate things, I just assume you're a Fed, which it would be weird. Here's the young Republicans, calling out their own, saying we are appalled by the vile and inexcusable language revealed in the Political article published today. Such behavior is disgraceful, unbecoming of any Republican, and stands in direct opposition to the values of our movement. Our movement represents. Those involved must immediately resign from all positions within their state and local young Republican organizations. We must hold ourselves to the highest standards of integrity, respect, and professionalism. The board of directors. To that, maybe I would have some level of okay, actually, no. Okay, what was I'd be curious. I mean, I didn't catch the specific detail and I deleted the article or exited out of the article. But I'd be curious if this was some sort of official comms or what. But even if it was, I mean, this was behind closed doors. This isn't public facing anything or whatever. So I don't agree with this whatsoever. If anything, I think those who should resign or should get shit are those who knee-jerkedly went after these people. Now, to be fair, perhaps I could be on your side here if you were actually showing genuine, examples of, I don't know, criminal action or incredibly duplicitous, disgusting sort of behavior. And I don't mean what are obviously jokes. These are obviously jokes. I mean, you can be upset that they're comfortable joking about racist thing or saying nigger or this or that, but it's jokes, it's words. So, I mean, anyways, this is just ridiculous. I do think this stuff needs to die. And frankly, anyone even trying to run with this should be frankly destroyed. No more, not at all. But anyways, point being, I guess if there was something, and when I say disgusting, I mean I don't know. Let's say they found pedophilic, sort of jokes that were they clearly don't mean it. I mean, even with some of the jokes we saw here, I guess if you could somehow prove that they literally were in support of genocide or this or that, but all of this stuff is very clearly goofing. So I don't know, even some of the racist stuff, it's everyone, the big thing, a lot of the anti-racists for a long time have been if you make racist jokes or if you say, or if you're willing to do this or that, that therefore means that you think someone's subhuman. Even being racist doesn't mean you think someone's subhuman. Racist is generally speaking, just a in-group preference. I mean, you can maybe debate what the reasons are or think, they may have good reasons or have bad reasons. I think they're typically pretty stupid if it's along race lines. But, I mean, whatever. I don't know. I think I'm just over this shit. And I think these people need to be destroyed that run with it. But yeah, I was just kind of, again, if there was truth to this, it's just very clear we operate in the real world. We understand when I went completely all wispy for a second, but we operate in the real world. We know these are jokes. So the idea that we have to behave as if there's something else is ridiculous. If these were actual genuine examples of some sort of crazy, disgusting behavior, sure. Let's say this was them commenting on how the children they found cute or something, and and it was very clear they weren't joking or something, and you're okay, here you go. So it isn't really so much that the people are leaking things from behind closed doors. It's more just the idea that we're weaponizing people being people. They're looking for anything to destroy people is what it seems like. And then while we got this going on, we got J.D. Vance. He came out from this and seemingly ran to the support of these college group chat. Here's what he said. So this is far worse than anything said in a college group chat, and the guy who said it would become the AG of Virginia. He says, I refuse to join the pearl clutching when powerful people call for political violence. Now here is now I'm a little torn. I haven't really processed this entirely and what this exactly is or what I think about this. Now, I did find it a little bit kind of gay that it was this, oh, well, I'm going to come out in support of these young college and kind of be oh, this is pearl clutching, But then I'm going to be like, but here's the real thing that we should clutch a pearl over because this person's powerful or something, which, to be fair, like, let's read it. I'm still trying to process what exactly it is. This is Jay. So who is the... Actually, let's... Here, fun little feature right here. We got this little grok button. Let's actually see what it says. Who are they referring to? This is referring to Jay Jones, a Virginia Democratic AG candidate who's referring to... Supposedly what we're looking at here is a text, supposedly an authentic text of his... Don't know who it's to. And it says, you weren't simply asking questions and you know it. And then I'm assuming this is Jay who is responding. He says, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. And then this response is, you weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hopping. Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Obviously, I mean hoping, I'm assuming. And then the response, I'm assuming this is Jay, what's his face? Jay Jones. He says, yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. Now, like, I guess I don't know exactly what this is referring to. I will say does not look good, but it seems weird. I mean, I wish kind of there was a better example perhaps of whatever this is he's showing, but I don't know. There's like, I feel like I'm missing some context here personally. I don't know if Grok will give us any more here. Let me see. But yeah, it says he fantasized about, I guess supposedly Jay Jones fantasized about shooting a Republican lawmaker and wishing death on his family to spur policy change. And an attached image here shows a redacted excerpt from Jones' messages where he justifies discussing the death of Jennifer Gilbert, wife of then House Speaker Todd Gilbert's children, as a way to make opponents feel pain personally and advance Democratic policy. Posted amid bipartisan... Okay, anyways. Okay, I mean, I don't know if there's a post of this somewhere. I haven't seen it shared around. That's obviously pretty fucking gross, assuming that's what happened. Okay. Anyways, so... I don't know what to make of that one, but it does feel weird that it fit like this to me. I don't know, I feel like if you're in fair-minded, it's a little bit confusing what they're talking about absent other context. So it's like, to some extent, it takes a very big degree of like just kind of assuming a lot of what Vance is saying. Once again, I'm completely open to being out of the loop here. I wish Vance had just kind of just been like, yeah, this is stupid and pearl clutching's dumb, but it almost feels like, no, my pearl clutching's okay. Although I am giving a little bit of a caveat here that, like, perhaps it is. It just seems ambiguous, perhaps a little bit to me. Maybe the chat will correct me here in a minute. But yes, that's where JD's on that. And then kind of, how the fuck did this happen? Here's Sam Parker. He's saying, what if I told you a Jew infiltrated political space, got dirt on someone, and used it for extortion to gain access to people's free speech, then expose those people's free speech in order to get them canceled? And he's quote tweeting here, Nick Fuentes, who says, seriously, fuck Gavin Wax. Should be immediately blacklisted from any political circle. Zero tolerance for friendly fire. Who they're referring to is this guy, Gavin M. Wax, who's the Chief of Staff, Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs. This fucking dork, although he kind of looks like holy shit, looks like Robert. It looks like Robbie Bernstein with with some hair thrown on him, like one of his fake wigs or something. Here's a couple of his tweets being shared around. It says, I was raised by my Holocaust surviving grandmother and had my family die at Dachau. Who did we host who falls in this category as a practicing Jew? I'm curious. Then another one, my grandparents survived the Holocaust too. I had family that died at Dachau. Are you going to ask me for my papers to prove I am Jewish? So I don't know. Maybe they Jew posted a little bit too hard in there. And then here's from Sam again, another excerpt. It says, Gunta claimed the release of the chat is part of a highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax in the New York City Young Republican Club, an allusion to a once obscured internecine war that is now spilled into the open. And then Sam's also, I guess, throwing some shade over at Milo, I guess. Let me see. He's also then Sam saying Milo's a homo Jew, infiltrates the right, actively collects blackmail material and threatens to extort people with the dirt he has in them, all while being a Fed snitch. Milo is a one-man Epstein operation. Milo is everything Gavin Wax aspires to. Milo is a monster calling Loomer and Wax monsters. It's all kosher theater. We mustn't trust any of them. What he's referring to here is, I guess, Milo was one of the people kind of calling out Wax off the jump, who is, I guess, the guy everyone's claiming did it. To Parker's point, though, there was a period of time Boltzmann Booty discovered that at one point there was the only person Peter Thiel followed at one point in time was Milo. And then once he pointed that out, he unfollowed them. So, I mean, to be fair, I guess you're basing that completely on the truth of Boltzmann Booty's screenshot back in the day, but I don't think he lied about that. That is weird. We've also played clips in this show with Milo talking about almost seeming like he knew of, a pedophilic impropriety, perhaps, and kind of how he kind of keeps his mouth closed type deal. So, I don't know, shady operator. I've always been a little bit little sketched by him, but I don't know why Sam took the point to shoot some strays at him here. Feels a little weird. But either way, just kind of, this is the guy everyone's throwing heat at. And then here is Colonel Towner Watkins, who was the lady who came on for the Gladio episode I had a while back. Highly recommend you go check it out. Here's what she has to say. She says, "This is an op. Who is Gavin Wax? He's a graduate of Baruch College. You will recognize Baruch as the guy behind the National Recovery Administration, which was socialism and struck down by Supreme Court as unconstitutional. Baruch is described as a Jewish financier, philanthropist, and statesman. Wax said his Jewish heritage has drawn public attention. He was hired as the American Jewish Congress as a marketing director, but was fired when they discovered he had an association with the Proud Boys." Now, which I don't really care if people do have that, but it is weird. Certain characters and the way they move. Now, where have I heard that before? Oh, yeah, that's right. Mike Benz. He was the chief of staff for FCC Commissioner Nathan Symington, but left when Symington abruptly left after Doge visited the FCC. He currently works the State Department for Darren Beatty from Revolver News, which, by the way, for those who are aware with the shades he's throwing at Mike Benz, we've covered this in the show. Benz had a very, very, very similar upbringing where he was this weird guy who, like, this anonymous account that was, moving in and out of, I guess, the Proud Boys / I guess you'd say alt-right circles or whatever the fuck. And over time he kind of came out as himself, and people found out he was Jewish, and then it was this weird, like, oh, well, this was like I was trying to infiltrate the right to make them, I don't know, sympathetic. And it was weird. It's weird. Odd guy. I don't want to make of him. Does seem to stray away from some of the Star of David type angles of things. Whatever. Some people are just that way. Maybe a little bit more respectable, sensible figures. I don't know. Just throwing that out there so you guys know what the shade she was throwing was. Anyways, Wax writes for the typical CIA Mockingbird media outlets like Newsweek. Do you remember who the editor-in-chief at Newsweek is? Josh Hammer. The Hill, The Federalist, etc. So Wax extorted Mike Bartles to the Telegram messages and then leaks them to CIA Mockingbird Politico. It's not ironic that he was a leading figure in the oldest young Republican club in New York. It was that very entity that, I guess this one account, War Hamster Brady, whoever it is, was referring to last week as their progressive wing of the Republican Party that came from Kentucky and created the Chicago mob. Its first speaker was Kentucky newspaper editor Cassius Clay, which morphed into the Republican Club in 1911. The New York Young Republican Club has been in many controversies over the years, like supporting Rockefeller against Goldwater, and when Goldwater won, sabotaged Goldwater. Same with Bush Sr. and Reagan. They wanted Bush Sr. and attacked Reagan repeatedly. See a pattern. This is an op. And then he's sharing here from America First Post. It says New York Young Republicans Club President Gavin Wax extorted Mike Bartles to turn over the Telegram messages to him, and Wax leaked them to Politico. So I don't know by what vector he extorted this guy, but I guess he had a friend that he somehow was able to blackmail in some way, shape, or form, which, to be fair, I guess like a lot of people, if you think about your closest friend, particularly on social media, I'm sure if you dug through your group chat, maybe you could find something to fuck with him. I don't know. That one time they said the one thing about one person, but even then it's like now you're asking them to destroy their entire reputation. yeah, what the fuck is going on? What was Mike Bartles doing? I don't know. It had to have been something pretty wild. But yeah, that's the story. Jays be doing their thing sometimes, I guess. Let's roll through the chat, see what you guys have to say about this, and then we'll get into the whole Kirk killing search and scrub story. No Hablo, good morning. It says Marty Mac killed it last night. She sure did. Let me see. Rise Liberty says, anyone find it weird that the government shuts down and starts raining again? Perhaps. It could be weird. Who else we got here? By the way, Gerald Hall says, pretty sure our chat is at least as racist as this. If we call ourselves Republican, we may be able to get some free promotion for your show, Jose. Yeah, it's actually a good point. I mean, obviously we're joking here, but I didn't even think about that like this show has a group, or has a chat, and it's completely publicly facing. And frankly, the stuff that we just read was, there's been way worse stuff said in there, and pretty much all entirely joking. So, yeah. Base Kothar says psyop. I think it affects black people the worst. That quote, we must censor ourselves around them. Yeah, it's odd for sure. Right, somebody says semantics do matter because it explains the difference between one thing and another. Exactly. So I know, as stupid as it is, I know like that really genuinely, there's like some sort of like autism that goes off in me that we're like, what the fuck? Seeing in quotation marks surrounding nigga, but they put hyphens out of the I and one of the G's to censor it. That makes me irate, because as you pointing out here with semantics is like, it literally undermines so many rules of language right there. The fact that they put those hyphens, it's like, you put it in quotes. You're saying this is a quote. So are you saying that that's what they wrote? Obviously that's not what they're saying, but the fact that we have this confusion is a problem, I think. All right, what's we got in the chat? Anybody else show up? Uncle Ted says, look, no one fell from the earth from a word in the chat. Exactly. Sounds like a group of people who I can ask about what is tax deductible with a fair level of certainty. I won't get audited, says Gerald Hall. Yeah. Let me see. Get a certain sense of humor, nigga, says Fire Pixie. Uncle Ted says the only difference between the left and the right is the Astro derped culture war, goy slop. Although they both have it, as I think this episode has kind of demonstrated a little bit. It goes both ways. It just got a little bit of a different vibe depending on which way you're coming at it from. I guess, by the way, apparently there's a joke in the chat that we're doing a conspiracy bingo now on this show between apparently already dead. We'll have to make some sort of promotional material out of this or something. Good morning, Gottis. Good to see you here. Nice to see some towers in the chat, some hard R's. Some nice hard R in the morning is always nice. Good morning, Bobo. Good morning. Good morning, FRA Bay 90 or 43s. Good morning to all, and to all, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me see. What else? Anybody else before we move on? Tony Chin says, I'm a Fed here to monitor the chat. Go ahead, share it around. It's all public, baby. Marnimek says, it doesn't work anymore. Most people, well-based people, take the title racist or anti-Semitic like a badge of honor now. At the very least, I don't care. I couldn't care less. I mean, like, maybe if I had, like, an actual, like, if I, like, one of my, like, friends that I know in real life that's black, if they were, like, if they did come to me and they were, like, somehow I found out that they thought I was racist, I guess I would feel a little bit, like, upset, but I feel like it would also be something that I probably could just message him, and probably pretty much any person I met in my life that I've, had some sort of proclivity to, liked, I probably could easily in a discussion be like, oh, this is what, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, that was clearly a misunderstanding. Like, yeah, that's right. Because I typically don't like irrational people. What else? Rise Liberty says, a tag racist, almost anything with an ism is literally mind control. You control the words, you control the mind. Exactly. Gerald Hall says, there's some Jew bros near and they know we love them, and none of the anti-Semitism is directed at them. Exactly. Until they throw us on the bus, and then we meant every single word of it. Every little bit. Good morning, Romulus. As I had, okay, never mind. I don't know what you're talking about, something else, but good to see you in here. Good to see you joining the chat. All right. I guess I do need to apply for VA, Bobo. This is true. All right. Gerald is asking about Jeff again. Is Jeff around? Jeff, where the fuck are you? You're really cramped. I'm going to have to like hunt him down one of these days. Maybe on the outro. I have a longer outro today. I might be able to hunt him down and bring him while the outro plays. Maybe that's what I can do. So it's a proof of life for Jeff for you guys. All right, we're almost all caught up in the chat. Let me see. Hard R in the Morning could be the name of a podcast. That would be a pretty good name of a podcast for sure. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. The whole search and scrub, the Kirk craziness continues. Let's watch. This is from James Lee. He's going to give a little breakdown. As Marjan, a frequent little eyes and ears of the show, points out, this is a good breakdown of the tech deaf ones like me. This is a good little few minutes. It kind of gives a little bit of a preamble to understanding this like search research that's going on as of late in the parapolitical world, particularly for tech nerds. But just kind of an explanation of what we're dealing with here. Just a couple minutes. I think you guys will, this will help to kind of start off. And also a little bit of a reminder for you guys out there. Don't forget, tag me and stuff. If you're out there on the socials, tag me at Tower Gang Jose. You're my eyes and ears out there. You guys help create this show. But that's enough, Em and Han. Let's go and play this.
Let me ask you a question. When was the first time you heard the name Tyler Robinson or the Losi Center, a Mauser 98? For me, and I assume many of you, it was in the days and weeks after Charlie Kirk's tragic assassination on September 10th. And you better believe I've been doing some Googling since then, right? Who is Tyler? What are the access points to the Losi Center rooftop? What kind of damage can a 30-06 caliber bullet do? But what if I told you somebody, maybe multiple somebodies, were searching those terms before September 10th? What do you think about that?
Before the shooting. Well, there's Washington, D.C. at 11 a.m., the day before the Charlie Kirk shooting. And you'll see here where the news finally broke that it was, in fact, Tyler James Robinson. But notice that. That's weird. That's weird.
That is weird, I gotta say. Why would anybody be searching the name Tyler James Robinson one day before he allegedly assassinated Charlie Kirk? The data point is just a tiny blip, but it's there. Tyler James Robinson, right? A name that nobody knew of prior to September 12th, 2 days after the shooting, when the media told us who Tyler James Robinson was, right? A supposed 22-year-old leftist who hated Charlie Kirk. So what does that little Google trend blip mean? Well, I did some research using Google Gemini, and they say Google Trends, what it does is normalize search interest to the region you select. The formula is search interest equals total searches in the region and time divided by total searches for the term. So when you look at things from a nationwide context, the total number of searches is enormous. The small handful of searches for Tyler James Robinson on September 9th is so tiny, a fraction of all the U.S. searches, that it gets rounded down to zero. But then when you zoom in a DC context, if you filter for the District of Columbia, the total search volume is much, much smaller. So if a few searches for Tyler James Robinson on September 9th originated in the DC area, then this handful of searches becomes a significant enough proportion of all DC searches on that day to register a value of 18 out of 100. Then it says, and this part is critical, quote, the fact that the searches are localized in DC, a city synonymous with the federal government, intelligence, national media, and political organizations, strongly shifts the interpretation away from random noise or perpetrator checking his own name from an ambiguous anomaly into a strong potential signal of pre-event institutional knowledge or activity. That is interesting. And to be clear, I'm not coming to any conclusions myself just yet, but that is how Google is interpreting its own trends data. But hold up for a second, strap in, buckle up, whatever you need to do.
All right, you can go check out that full video on YouTube if you want to get more from him. He probably is doing probably did a better job than me for sure. But let's do it in my signature style. Here is Sam Parker. We covered a little bit of his earlier, but he's just sharing a video here from who actually, funny enough, James actually just gave credit to, Baron Coleman. So we're going to kind of watch 6 minutes. I know it's a little bit longer, but there's a lot, and it's pretty technical. And these guys are definitely going to do a better job than I do. And it'll give me a chance to look for Jeff. I looked for Jeff a minute ago. I'm pretty sure it's under my kid's bed, so you guys might be poop out of luck. That I got to climb under the bed. So I did try to help you guys out. But here is Baron Coleman. He's kind of the original person who seemed to be circulating these sort of claims. Sam Parker saying here, Charlie Kirk bombshell. Israeli and Washington, D.C. IP addresses caught conducting unique Google searches for Timpanogos Regional Hospital, Utah medical examiner Deirdre Amaro, and various TRH surgeons during June/July 2025. So go ahead and watch this.
I wonder if anybody Googled the hospital.
Let me know if this sounds okay. It sounds really quiet on my end. If it's unlistenable, let me know. But I'm going to go and play it again.
Where they took Charlie Kirk. Wonder if anybody Googled the hospital where they took Charlie Kirk. They took him to Timpanogos Regional Hospital. That's there in the district. That's there in Utah. They have, I think, a campus in Orem, Utah. So I go District of Columbia. Here's where, again, on September 10th, 11th, right there, you see the searches for Timpanogos Regional Hospital, people looking for where they took Charlie Kirk. But you'll see this spike of interest in Timpanogos Regional Hospital out of D.C., and then no interest for 2 solid months before the shooting. But again, keep in mind that July 20 anchor date. Here we have a July 16, 2025. And then we have a July 3, and we have a June 28. And if you go out 12 months, you'll notice you even had one back then, and then this all kind of goes out. So something's going on here at the Timpanogos Regional Hospital search. And then right the day before the shooting, somebody in the District of Columbia says, we should really make sure we know what the Timpanogos Regional Hospital is. We really should make sure we know the day before he gets shot. So you had that July 20 anchor date, the time around there. You had a time way back. That could be anything. And then the day before, somebody zeroes in and says, we need to look up Timpanogos Regional Hospital.
The volume's super low. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find a better version of this.
I'm just reporting the facts. I'm not drawing conclusions tonight. I could give you.
All right, let me see a better version, perhaps. Okay, whatever. All right. Well, just you guys go check that one out on your own. Baron Coleman, you can go to his YouTube channel, but we'll just kind of, I guess, raw go over the stuff they claim there. So apparently conducting unique searches of, the Timpanogos Regional Hospital. So lots of weird stuff. So you can go over to Baron. So Baron Coleman, which I guess, to be fair, this guy has like 500 subs. I'm sure he probably has a bunch more now with the Real Baron podcast. I guess he just happened to be the guy who, found these things, which now that I see only has 500 subs makes me, I don't know. So then summary here from Sam Parker. He says, search Timpanogos Regional Hospital, D.C. So narrowing these search things down to D.C. November 24th, 2024, June 28th, June 3rd, or July 3rd, July 16th, September 9th, September 10th, and September 11th. And then Israel, there was the August 10th through the 16th, the search being Deirdre Amaro. Sorry, I'm just looking at this raw data. Sorry, this is shit for me to read to you guys. Then also related, I guess the fucking I believe they looked up the Examiner before too, is what they're saying. So right here, so here's Candace saying that, look, this is insane because no one knows the name of the surgeons who were involved. I quite literally just learned the names of 2 of them yesterday via your tip, and they are both on this list. How is this possible? So if you go to this list, the search terms, the weird search terms back in, okay, I'm understanding this a little bit better now if you're looking at. So this one right here, this summary, for example, search terms down here, TRH, general and ER surgeons, Israel, Stephen Nealman. So these are different search terms that were literally looked up around this period of time. TRH General, ER surgeons, Stephen Nealman, also Robert Patterson, and these are all in Israel. Lee Trotter, Lee Patterson, Richard Rasmussen, and you can see the dates of these specific searches in these places, which I don't know if this could be something where, maybe when you're dealing with raw data and you get specified, these seem awfully specific. Like, who the fuck in Israel is looking up Richard Rasmussen on July 14th? I know it sounds like we're, I don't know, almost like you're creating, you're looking for it, because this feels like we're given a shitload of data, but these are such specific things that you're like, what? Yeah, I mean, and we can see right here, here is literally a graph, Google Trends. You can see from Israel, you can even brought it down the search term here, Timpanogos Regional Hospital, and you can see in Israel, the search, you can see interest over time, and you can see literally August 10th to 16th, there is a big spike, which I'm assuming probably even just a few people probably would set that off, but you don't need much. So these are the things they're pointing to as these weird spikes in search results that they're finding. Yeah, they also had a new medical examiner around this time, which perhaps is related. I know that's one thing Candace made an odd point to for some reason about this one, which many people have pointed out, that she bears the old star. So yeah, and then here's another one. Let me see. Another update here. Let me see. Dr. Deirdre Weiss Amaro was subsequently hired as a Utah State Medical Examiner on May 14th, 2024 by Dr. Michelle Hoffman. And then it says Josh Hammer recently revealed he started closely collaborating with Charlie Kirk about a year and a half ago, which would be around April of 2024. And the questions, why? Anyways, I missed the first paragraph that throws off a lot of the context here. Israeli IP addresses conducted unique Google searches on Deirdre Amaro, Charlie Kirk, and Josh Hammer in close proximity in the spring of 2024. Amaro, March 21st, 2024. Kirk, May 10th, 2024. Which the Kirk one would be the one, kind of what I'm pointing to earlier, which this would be like making anything out of any search results related to Charlie Kirk would mean probably nothing, because he was a huge name in media. So trying to be like his name, but now I guess if you're cross-referencing it with other occurrences of Deirdre and Josh being searched, that might be a little bit more specific. Josh is a little bit more significant, obviously, because he's less of a name. But then Deirdre Amaro is far more significant if we're talking about Israeli searches around that period of time. Significant, perhaps. How much so? I don't know. Other questions. Was Josh Hammer assigned as Charlie Kirk's handler in the spring of 2024? Is that why they trended together in Israel in those dates? Is that why Hammer started closely associating with Kirk then? Was a parallel contingency plan also underway should Hammer fail to wrangle Charlie Kirk back firmly onto the Israel First plantation? What the fuck is going on? Here's what they did here. They literally, yes, they did, like I said, a cross-reference where all three of them are together. So kind of around the same, so Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Deirdre Amaro, Josh Hammer. And here you can see in Israel during these periods of time from February of 2024 to July of 2024, you can see these spikes. There's 58 hits, it looks like, in March 21st for Deirdre Amaro in Israel. 58 hits, I think, if I'm reading this correctly. And then we have 77 hits for Charlie Kirk, and then 100 on May 10th, and then May 17th, there's 100 hits for Josh Hammer. Obviously, the Kirk one's, I think, a little less significant, but I don't know. Still interesting. So, and then there's even more.
The hospital.
So, yeah, okay, never mind. It's re-referencing back to itself here. Oh, here's another one we can look at. You can add in Tyler Robinson to this as well, which makes it even weirder. There were Tyler Robinson searches in Israel back in, according to this. So I'm a tech idiot. I'm a Luddite. I don't know what I'm looking at particularly. But according to this, there were Israel hits for Tyler Robinson in, was this May 24th? Yeah. Of 2024. That's something interesting. I guess you can go, it says here, see for yourself, Sam Parker, by going to Google Trends. And then I guess also in early August, we got we got 5 hits for Tyler Robinson in early August of Israel, which Tyler Robinson, I guess, probably is a pretty common name, I guess. So, all right, let's see if this audio is a little bit better. Let me know if this audio is better.
You can see here where George Zinn was arrested. There's a little blip on September 10th in the District of Columbia. I'm assuming this is everybody racing to the computer to figure out who is the guy they just arrested. I don't know what this is. Maybe a few days later, people go, but look here, July 20th. Now, this July 20 is going to become very important tonight. The week of round July 20th is going to become exceedingly important. And the amount of coincidences that take place between like a week before and a week after July 20 and all that time in between becomes very difficult to set aside, to disregard. So the fact that this was the first thing I looked up during this go-around of searches, George Hodgson Zinn, that's the full name of the guy that they first arrested. You remember, this is the old guy who stands up within seconds of Charlie Kirk being assassinated. I did it, I shot him. And then as they're dragging him away, his pants fall down. He's like, shoot me. That's George Hodgson Zinn. And he was searched, or this term was searched, according to Google, with an IP address originating in the District of Columbia on July 21, 2025. And again, I tell you, keep the anchor date around July 20 in your mind tonight. Oh, now I go, see if I can find him here. A guy named Bo Mason. You guys ever heard of Bo Mason? Bo Mason is the commissioner of the Utah Department of Public Safety. In other words, a high-ranking law enforcement official there in Utah. Bo Mason. Now, I noticed Bo Mason got appointed to that position on July 17th. Again, that anchor right around July 20th. He was appointed a few weeks before that, and he took the role on July 17th, replacing a guy named Jess L. something, who resigned. I can't remember it all off the top of my head. But again, District of Columbia, Bo Mason, well, you can say, hey, he's a law enforcement official. Notice how close that is to July 20th again. We got it right in that same window where I told you, really watch that time period. Really watch that time period right around July 20th tonight. Something caused a lot of these searches to take place right in a very narrow band of time. But again, this one could be explained away as, hey, he got appointed the very next day. He got appointed on July 17th there in Utah. So maybe on July 16th, someone says, we need to look at who the new Department of Public Safety head is going to be in Utah. Maybe. How quickly people gave up on the idea that the question that was asked when Charlie Kirk was assassinated could have anything to do with it. It was like too perfect of a coincidence. They were talking about transgender gun violence. It was a lefty. I think he has a podcast. I don't want to speak out of turn. Guy's name's Hunter Kozak.
Oh shit, that's the guy we talked about yesterday. So the guy we talked about yesterday that did the Wojak when fucking Kirk went pop, and then also he was shown like doing that before, which I did make fun of one girl saying that just looking at that in isolation, that's just an anecdotal example. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. And looking at that in isolation as anything is, frankly, kind of worthy of ridicule. But now we add into it. We did add to yesterday that he has these weird, I think his dad's like the producers for Kimmel, and there's all sorts of other weirdness. He basically immediately got on the there was also, we didn't cover this yesterday, maybe we'll cover this some other day. There was weirdness with the guy who was holding the camera. So anyways, those things start making a little bit more of a compelling something's going on here. But that is interesting that apparently on was this August 3rd, 2025, so a couple months ago, about a month and a couple days before this even happened, Hunter Kozak, that guy, the one who asked it, there are searches from Israel. Although I do think he is a content creator, to give to kind of muddy that a little bit, to be fair. If I recall, I think. I might be wrong, but let's keep playing.
Hunter Kozak goes to the stage. Now, I have heard where he said out of his mouth, he pre-screened this question with Charlie Kirk's team. They were fine with him asking this.
The Zinn one's weird, though. I didn't even think to comment on that. The Zinn one, George Hodgson Zinn, down to the fucking middle name. That's weird. That's July 21st. I know he's like known as a political gadfly and does show up a lot. So I guess you could maybe make some case that he's a known of political figures, and perhaps seems unlikely though.
Question. It's not like he caught Charlie Kirk unaware with this question. The team reviewed the question, reviewed the questioner, and determined, yes, you may ask this question live to Charlie Kirk at the American Comeback Tour event in Orem, Utah Valley University, in the UVU courtyard. And initially, people came up and said, "Oh, that question has to be related. It's just too convenient." You know, they had the little transgender terms on the bullets, for example. And this guy was living with someone who may or may not be transitioning from male to female, and may or may not wear puppy dog costumes and think he's a dog. I don't know what the facts are. Not my culture. Not making fun of it. Just telling you I have limitations on my ability to discuss it. But his name was Hunter Kozak, Kozak. And I thought to myself, actually, someone recommended this one. I would love to take credit for searching this one, but a friend of mine recommended this one. Lo and behold, our friends in Israel were searching the name Hunter Kozak, or someone with an IP address originating in Israel, were searching the name Hunter Kozak on 3 August 2025. Again, look at it again. Just I don't want you to lose it, because I'm going to switch it over to the District of Columbia in a second. I might even switch it to Utah. I don't know if I've done Utah yet. But on August 3, 2025, Hunter Kozak searched with an IP address originating in Israel. Now let's do the District of Columbia. Anyone within our nation's capital curious about this guy? No. Anybody inside the state of Utah curious about this guy? Only after the shooting.
Okay.
Only after the shooting. But our friends on the other side of the world, for some reason, took an interest in this guy.
Huh. That's something, huh? That sure is something. And then to kind of match this, here's from Project Constitution. And he's saying, now, I will admit the way this is worded does feel like it's some slop, but there might be something to this. It says, holy shit, deep state in panic mode. Google Trends data vanishing in real time as we close in on the Charlie Kirk hit squad. You thought the Mossad CIA plot to whack Charlie Kirk was wild? Buckle up. Now they're scrubbing the internet live to bury the smoking gun. Remember those eerie Google Trends spikes from Israel and DC IPs 2 whole months before the UVU bloodbath? Searches for the medical examiner, Phil Lyman, the hospital, Hunter Kozak, the kid grilling on trans shooters right before the shot, Tyler Robinson, all pre-planned hits from Tel Aviv and Foggy Bottom. All right, that seems a bit much. Perhaps proves the swamp scripted this frame job on Patsy Tyler to silence Kirk's anti-globalist fire. All right, a little bit much. A little overselling it, but here's a bombshell follow-up that sent the censors into overdrive. Enter Precision Marvel and Granite LLC. The shady outfit that swooped in days after Charlie's neck got ventilated, slapping concrete pads over shattered glass, remudding the sniper's tunnel roof like a bad mob cleanup, and get this, business records scream it's owned by none other than Tyler Robinson's dad, Matt Robinson. I mean, I haven't verified this. This is just some Twitter thing. Be interested if they find out that's bullshit later, I'll let you guys know. But coincidence or daddy's firm stealing the escape route for the real BA, building ghosts. And then he says, I dove in, fired up Google Trends for Precision Marble and Granite LLC. Bam! Massive U.S. spike right around June 20th, syncing perfect with the Israeli DC recon blitz. Snapped a mobile screenshot, ironclad evidence of foreknowledge. Switch to desktop for that clean side-by-side like all my other dumps. Poof, 0 results. Zilch, tried phone again, gone. Had a third-party buddy verify on their device, same black hole, no data. What the fuck? This ain't glitch, it's live deletion. Google or CIA/Mossad string pullers wiping Trends data the second we go viral, torching the Israel-Washington fingerprints, tying the U.S. government to Charlie's Mossad-style takedown. They blame the kid, but Trends screamed plot from day 0. Now they're erasing the map, but screenshots don't lie. And they say, FBI, this is your wake up. Cyber forensics now before they nuke the servers. Who's hacking the truth? Okay, yeah. The FBI, I'm sure, is really going to help you with that. But okay, so I guess where they're basing this off of is that here, apparently, at one point, I think he's saying it was like on his phone or something, he looked up Precision Granite Marble and Marble LLC, which we are to believe, according to him, this is owned by Tyler Robinson's father. And this was searched back in, around July-ish, early July. I think he said, what did he say? It was June 20th or something? So late June, I think, here. And I believe he said, I don't know if he said this one was in Israel, but either way, you see that, and then we go look at this other one here, where he goes to do it again, and it, boom, search does not have enough data to show here. So I don't know if we're basing this off of that, if there's other people who are backing this up as well, but particularly interesting that there's a chance they might be deleting these things in real time. And so interesting, perhaps. I don't know. Are we dealing with stuff being deleted? I don't know. This could be just some weird tech dud. This could be forgeries by people online. I have no idea. I could be easily fooled. I am fucking retarded when it comes to tech stuff. But I will say it doesn't look good. It doesn't look great. And then more to kind of weird. It seems a little bit of an aside here, but kind of related. Apparently Spotify just banned Nick Fuentes. I know that it feels completely aside, but I guess it hit number 1 on the charts just being days after being back allowed on it, and then they banned it. So that's interesting to kind of the nuking. But back to the Tyler Robinson stuff. Here is this video. It says about the construction company from that same account. So I want to see if perhaps there's more here where he's supporting his claim.
Let's see what are they doing, because I see a lot of construction.
No, okay, now this is just the video from before. Okay, that's all that is. I thought maybe there was something here that gives us some sort of proof of some sort or something to kind of, here we go. Here's Ryan Tyre. It says multiple reports on Tyler Robinson's arrest in the 2025 Charlie Kirk homicide case confirm Matt is father and note that Matt works with granite countertops. Okay, so I guess someone grokked it, which seems a little bit dystopian that this is a thing now. We're grokking things. So who owns Capital Granite LLC? Let me see. Someone asked it who owns it, and then yada, yada, yada. And then they say, is there any association between Precision Granite and Marble LLC and Capital Granite? And then is there any yada, 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 yada. Okay, anyways, is there a Precision Granite and Marble LLC owned by suspect Tyler Robinson's dad, Matt Robinson? So this is according to Grok. Yes, there's a Precision Granite and Marble LLC owned by Matt Robinson, who's the father of suspect Tyler Robinson. This company is based in St. George, Utah, where Matt Robinson is listed as the owner in business records in his LinkedIn profile. Holds a Utah contractor license and has been involved in state regulatory actions. Okay. Okay. Seems like this actually perhaps could be legit. I mean, I guess I don't know where they're getting the information that it for sure was this Precision Cabinets place, but that is what's owned by him. Let me see. Okay. Sorry. All right, that's weird. I might have to dig into that one some more. That is quite the weird little reveal. All right, let's pop in the chat, and then we'll get into our final story of the day, and then we'll get on out of here. Let me see. Good morning, Nemo Liberty. Good to see you in here. It said bump, 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 bump. Good to see you here. Uncle Ted says, y'all know Tyler Robinson made drone bombs in Ukraine? I don't know where you're getting that info from, Uncle Ted, but if you are not goofing with me, you need to tag me in some shit, because I have not heard that, so that's interesting. Let me see what else we got in here. Tony Shin says Palantir is actively using AI powered pre-crime models. Suppose it's effective and accurately predicting suspects and other details. All right, let me see. Catch up to where you guys are now. Jose loves Josh Amos as Gerald Hall. I am a big fan. Great guy. Let me see. Jose loves Josh Amos as Just Out as well. Yeah, great guy. Good morning, Johnny Leash. Good morning. Let me see. Wise Elk saying the real hard words that no one else is willing to say. Someone's got to speak truth to power. You tell him, Wise Elk. Good morning. Let me see. Where else are we? Someone's saying misinfo. I don't know what you're talking about here. See if anyone has anything interesting to say about the tech stuff, because I am retarded. Shayuon says, what's interesting is that they claim the gun was Tyler's grandfather's gun. They don't frame it as the gun of the informants. And apparently someone who benefits from the cover-up's actual father. I don't know. I don't really know maybe I'm missing what you're getting at there. Chaco says Precision Granite is a very common name. I did think that too. I was thinking that would make sense for that to be like a common granite name like Precision LLC. What was it called again? Let me see if I can find it. Precision Granite and Marble. Yeah, I guess that would be super used a lot. So I don't know. Maybe I'll let you guys know if I find out more. So Uncle Ted says a photo of the gun was taken literally off of Getty Images. I totally believe that's probably the case. So all right, let's get into this final story to kind of head it off. Let's see what Speaker Johnson has had to say about the most recent. What's his most recent he said about all the Epstein going on? Let's see what he has to say.
Mr. Speaker, good morning. Thank you. You said last week that you would swear in Adelita Groholva whenever she won. She's written a letter to your office. You've not sworn her in. I understand about pro forma sessions.
Yes.
Doesn't your resistance to not swear her in add fuel to the fire that this is about the Epstein file?
No. Let's talk about Groholva and Epstein. Okay. Once more for everybody. Everybody in Congress, I think, is for maximum transparency of the Epstein files. That is underway right now. Let me point out before I go further, all of the files were in the possession of the Biden-Harris Department of Justice for 4 years. Every single thing that we're talking about right now was in their sole possession. They could have released it. They could have done anything. Ro Khanna, all the Democrats who are jumping up and down making noise about this, didn't say a peep about it for 4 years. I don't know why, but this is another partisan manufactured thing. Is it a serious problem? Yes. I've sat with the victims, some of the ladies who bravely have come forward and talked about the horrors that they sustained because of traffickers on Epstein Island and all the things he was involved in. Everybody involved in that should have the full weight of justice descend upon their head. And we're all for that. We want every single person who had anything to do with that to be exposed. But there's as many as 1,000 victims estimated. That's what the victims said. There may be 1,000 women who were made to suffer these unspeakable harms because of this. Many of them were underage at the time. They have not all chosen to come forward like some of these other brave women have for obvious reasons. And we have to make sure that when the files are released, their names are redacted so they don't suffer further harm. We have a duty and a responsibility. You can't just wave a wand and just open the floodgates. You have to make sure that the victims don't suffer additional harms. That's all we've said. Let's make sure it's done the right way. The Groholva, that's underway, by the way. The House Oversight Committee asked the Democrats and Republicans on that committee who are working on that vigorously. As I said, some of the biggest, bulldogs in Congress are on that committee, and they're all joined together in a bipartisan fashion, digging through and releasing documents. 34,000 documents so far, and more on the way. In fact, as I noted a couple of days ago, the attorneys for the House Oversight Committee during the shutdown are still doing work. They were in New York City combing through the Epstein estate files. By the way, that was never even mentioned or anticipated in the discharge petition, for those of you who are following all the details of this. So more is coming out. We're for all of it coming out as soon as possible. The only thing we want to make sure of is that the innocent victims are protected, and I think we have responsibility.
I don't think you really answered there why the fuck he won't swear in that Grijalva, what a fucking weird name, Grijalva broad, which is the last one they need for that final vote. But whatever, eventually at some point this is going to go through. And as he's mentioning that Democrat Oversight Committee, I know I talked to you guys not too long about the not so crazy outside possibility that perhaps we could be seeing Ghislaine in a unfortunately probably closed door meeting here soon. But either way, I figured we'd give a little bit of a look into the stay Ghislaine is enjoying during her prison vacay. Here's from Ken Silva. I figured, whatever, just take a little bit of a shine, look into the conditions of her incarceration. Let's check that out. So the report here, Ghislaine Maxwell held secret meeting at new prison while other inmates were locked down. So the Wall Street Journal published a bombshell report on Saturday about convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell receiving special treatment at the low-security prison camp where she was moved to in July. According to the Journal, the prison camp in Bryan, Texas locks down other inmates around 8 p.m. so she can shower. So they're literally, it sounds like they're revolving the schedule around here. That's great. Guards escort her to the recreation area for late-night workouts, too. That's nuts. Once in August, the prison locked down the facility during recreation time so that Maxwell could meet with several unknown visitors in the federal prison camp's chapel, the Journal reported, citing people familiar with the matter. One inmate, Christian Irwin, a 46-year-old Texas accountant convicted of defrauding a law firm where she worked, spoke to the Journal about Maxwell's preferential treatment. Within days, she had been moved to the higher security Houston Federal Detention Center, the Journal reported it. According to the Journal, a federal prison camp Bryan used to have as few as 6 guards oversee more than 600 inmates. Guards were typically unarmed. But after Maxwell's transfer, the facility now has Special Operations Response Teams, or SORT, the BOP's equivalents of SWAT teams, at the camp's main entrance and rear gate at all times due to the heightened security risk she poses, according to the Journal. So they have like some sort of essentially the BOP's SWAT team that's literally sticking by on standby because that's where Ghislaine is. That's nuts. There was a shooting outside the facility in August. The police later determined that it was local gang violence unrelated to Maxwell. Maxwell could be at the facility until 2037 after the Supreme Court declined to hear her appeal earlier this month. Though President Donald Trump has also said this month that he will take a look at possibly pardoning her. Maxwell's transfer follows an interview she gave to the Justice Department in which she reportedly discussed about 100 people who were associated with her and Epstein. In that interview, she said she never saw Trump commit any wrongdoing. She also said she never saw former President Bill Clinton do anything wrong either. Maxwell was previously housed in the honor dorm of a low-security prison in Tallahassee, Florida. Her lawyer said the transfer, which was conducted after Bryan underwent a deep cleaning, was due to threats to her safety at the Tallahassee prison. By the way, if I didn't say that earlier, this is from Ken. That's over at Headline News USA. But yeah, pretty nuts. This is the way that they're treating her. It's quite ridiculous that they seem to be, essentially carving out whatever for her. Let's look a little bit actually at the some of the original quotes from the Wall Street Journal piece. Let's see right here. This is according to the lawyer. I thought this was interesting. I just wanted to hone on this one. The BOP is a black box. This is according to, I believe, the lawyer. This is Brandon Beck, which I think is Ghislaine's lawyer. But I do think it is interesting that it is like, I mean, you keep in mind Epstein's sweetheart deal and the way that this was the situation he had. Would it be that outstanding if we had something similar? I mean, do we even know that she isn't leaving regularly? I mean, it sounds like they're shutting down or preventing access to people to be able to see things, like the other inmates, and they've also even removed inmates. We covered this before. One person complained on an interview, and then she got sent somewhere else. I don't know. It does seem like when we're talking about prison world, it's kind of just, it's like kind of do whatever. They can kind of do whatever they want. There's actually, I think recently there was some new information that came out about the Epstein stuff and some of the shenanigans of the post-trial stuff. And then also there was weirdness where apparently there's oddities with, I guess they were covering the cells of a lot of the people in that area around that time. I think regards to before and after, so it makes things a little bit confusing. But point being is it's kind of like a perfect place to pull off magic tricks, up to and including something as crazy as, for all we know, Ghislaine could be pulling the old Epstein special and just be hanging out here for like, I don't know, she could be hanging out there from like 9 to 5, leaving for at night, or, bouncing on the weekends or whatever, which is essentially kind of what Epstein had. Would it be that crazy Maxwell have something similar? And we're finding out more and more the ridiculous degree to which, all of this this prison seems to damn near revolve around her, and it's quite ridiculous. And I don't know where this goes. We might be seeing her behind closed doors soon. I don't know what her game is here, where she is so far as aligning with the other power players. We have seen some crazy stuff. The birthday book that came out a while ago, many people have theorized perhaps that was some sort of shot across the bow from Ghislaine. I know there's also larger, stuff, lots of talks about some of the Gaza peace deals and this, that. How does this play into it? And I don't know, as she's poised to probably get ready to speak to some politicians here soon. I don't know. This could really make a big difference on the world stage. So I don't know. We'll see how this story develops. Let's check in with you guys, and we'll get out of here, play the outro, And I'll see you all either tomorrow or Thursday. By the way, I'm going on Forbidden Knowledge News tonight. I don't believe it's live, though, so just letting you guys know. Maybe it is. I don't know. Good morning, Evan. Good to see you here. Justin Valentine says, I would love to see Bill Clinton and Donald Trump as cellmates, but I've seen nothing that would even get them indicted. Unfortunately, yes. All right, let me see what else is in the chat here, and then I think we'll get out of here. Uncle Ted says, we know they have photos of Trump with topless underage girls. The senator said that much at the Pam Bondi hearing. We don't know they're underage. I know we actually covered the specific thing the other day. I forget which segment it was. It was like less than a week ago. It's a Michael Wolff claim where Epstein showed him these photos. He pulled them out of his safe, made a whole big show of it. And Michael Wolff, the way he phrases it is young girls. And he essentially is careful to try not to, but essentially saying in a way that, like, I can't tell you for sure they're young, but they looked young. They looked really young. That seems to be what he's implying. So yeah, they're probably underage, but yeah. Good morning, Joel. Good to see you here. Thanks for retweeting the thing. Wiseluck says she may not even be in the prison at all. This is good points. Thank you. Yep. All right, guys, let's get out of here. For those who want to support what I'm doing here, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. All of those actions go a long, long way to help this show grow and help it to get to other people's ears and eyes. And if you really want to help that show, also you can follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. You can also find the show on YouTube, also on Rumble. Anywhere podcatchers are at is where you can find this show. But if you really want to help this show in the best way you really can, go over to patreon.com/NoWayJose2020 right here, the old QR code right there. You can use that as well instead of the site if you would prefer. But yeah, it's patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That gives you access to early episodes. I usually do about 1 to 2 episodes per week behind the paywall. Those get released like weeks later. You keep about 4 behind the paywall at any given time. You also get access to the Telegram. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. And you get access to the pre-show, post-show, and video calls on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which was an absolute heater last night. And I give a big shout out to my sponsors every episode. Those are the highest payers over there on Patreon. As a big thank you to their support. My previous co-host on Tower Gang at Learn to Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at ZLVRCK, at _Invincial, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, Will Bills, Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Taculus, Yellow Polka Dot Dress, and Mark Vestibule. And with that, guys, we're going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoy these 2 outros I have for you guys. First one's a little bit goofy, and then I have a fun little song for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this. Here's Florida Boys doing what Florida Boys do, and it kind of ties into our first main topic of the day, based group chats. So check this out.
This is Key Biscayne on Apple Maps. If you zoom into this park, this is Key Biscayne on Apple Maps. If you zoom into this park, there's an island, and on this island, there is a 100-foot dick, a dick that you can see from space. Who swims on an uninhabited island and draws a dick with veins?
All right, now enjoy this fun little video on your way out. I will see you guys either tomorrow or Friday. Like I said, I might take off one of those days. We'll see what the news cycle provides us, but enjoy this outro. This is how to steal a fighter jet.
How do I start an F-16? The question's real. How do I start an F-16? The question's real. I stole an F-16. Flip the master, all the lights begin to feel. I stole an F-16. Set the fuel pump, start the number 2. I stole an F-16. Engines whining as the turbines chew. I stole an F-16. Turn the RER power on bright. I stole an F-16. F-16, horizon centered, the line set right, I stole an F-16. Oh, watch the gauges and the needles climb, I stole an F-16. Wait till 20, it will take its time, I stole an F-16. Throttle back down to idle mark, I stole an F-16. Breathes deep with a rumbling spark, I stole an F-16. Unlock the gate and push it free, I stole an F-16. The bird comes alive with a roar of glee, I stole an F-16. Roll out PRE, power on bright, I stole an F-16. Horizon centered, the line set right, I stole an F-16. Bolivia, Bolivia, Baba, Bolivia, Bolena de Shimomaro, Baba, Bolivia, Bolivia, Bolena de Shimomaro.